Hi, welcome to Studio 708. In this video, we are going to create our stretch sleeve foundation. Let's get started. First, you're going to need your L-square ruler and your pencil. We are going to draft from A to B. First, I should let you know that my paper is on the fold. So I'm going to use this line right here as my center line of my sleeve. Keep my paper folded. And then I'm going to go ahead and draft off that edge. So I'm using a 24-inch ruler. I'm going to go ahead and mark here. I'm going to label this B. Here, I'm going to label this A. And I'm going to go ahead and square out from these points so that I have some guide marks for later. Okay, our next measurement is our A to C measurement, which is 5.5. So we're going to put our measurement 5.5 here and go ahead and draw a guideline out here. This will be our C. Then our C to D measurement is 5.25. So we're going to just make a mark here, label that D. Our B to F measurement is our wrist measurement. That is going to be 3 5/8. Next, I'm going to connect my D to this is my F, and then I want to go 1/8 of an inch past F. So I'm lining up my ruler here where I have 1/8 of an inch to go, and connect D. Down 1/8 of an inch. Okay, that point will be G. At that location, we're going to take our French curve and gently blend in from G to our line at B. Okay, let's work on the cap of our sleeve. So for the cap of our sleeve, we want to get another measurement here in the middle. That will be our E, and E should be 2 3/4. Going to draw a guideline out there as well. And we're going to go ahead and connect our A to D. Okay, I know most of you guys that are pattern makers like math, but there's many people that do not. So I'm going to show you the cheat way here to create quarters. So this line right here should be our halfway mark, but you can check that by just folding this in half, and we're right on the money. And then you're going to fold this one to find where the quarter mark is, and then match this one to that to find our quarter mark. So that's kind of the cheat way to do that. You could always use your ruler and measure it, but I find this is pretty fast and it's always accurate. So go ahead and give that a shot. Next, we're going to tell us where to draw this curve for our cap. Here we're going to draw a line that comes out 3/4 of an inch. We're going to call that one J. K will be right here at the center, and our L will come in 1/4 of an inch. Then grab your French curve again. We're going to use these marks to give us the angle for this curve. So we're also going to make sure we don't go above this line right here, because that will give us a weird point. So just line up. If you can't quite reach that 3/4 mark, that's okay. Just get close and then come to that point right there. Then I'm going to flip my ruler over and come down here to the bottom to D, and I'm going to line up with this, and then I'm going to go to where it just touches this line right here. So I think I'm pretty good right there. Okay, so this line right here, that smooth curve, is going to be our arm side, or the cap of our sleeve. Okay, that's your sleeve draft. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and cut this out. Oops, elbow line. We're not going to cut this out yet. We need to mark our elbow line first. So our C to H measurement is 9 1/4. Just going to mark that. And our H1 line, which is actually our elbow line, is 1 inch above that. So this is actually the H, this is the H1, but this is your elbow. So this is our minimal stretch. Two-way sleeve, size 8. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and cut this out. So this is on the fold still. So make sure that you're keeping this paper together and it's not slipping on you while you're cutting, so that you're keeping the pattern accurate on both sides. There's our sleeve. So I'm going to go ahead and put our grain line on here. So it's our fold line from before, but go ahead and mark that so you know that's your grain line. And as always, put your arrow on there pointing towards the top of the pattern. And there's your sleeve pattern. In this video, we are going to grade our minimal stretch sleeve to the different stretch ratios. So we'll have minimal, moderate, very, and super stretchy. And I've gone ahead and set this up by going ahead and putting my guideline here, which was our grain line on our original draft, and then setting up some guidelines here. So I have what was our C line marked on here and what was our E line marked on here. And then we have where our wrist line was already here with the curve. So here I've put in some marks that are at 1/8 of an inch. Put that up a little closer so maybe you can see. Okay, so we have 1/8 of an inch, 1/4, 3/8, and I marked those on the bottom side, and then on the top side I marked 1/4, 1/2, and 3/4. So those are going to be where we need to move to for our patterns. If you feel like it, you could do the same markings again down here, which I'll do real quick. I'm doing these in pencil even for the video because I feel like it's a little easier, a little more accurate. So I'm going to come out and do 1/8, 1/4, and 3/8. And then on the top side, I'm going to mark 1/4, 1/2, and 3/4. And that'll just give me 2 places to match this to. So I'm going to start here with my moderate color. And we are going to line our pattern up with the 1/8 of an inch mark. And make sure that you're staying lined up with your guidelines. And then what we're going to draw here is just the top part of our sleeve. So just from that center line down to about the halfway mark where the E was. And then you're going to come down here to the bottom and just draw this little corner and the curve. Okay, after you get that done, we're going to bring this part in 1/4. So we're going to slide over to the 1/4 mark. And then we're just, make sure we're still lined up with the guideline, and then just draw that corner. Okay, and we'll go ahead and finish out the side seam with that. I keep calling it the side seam. It's actually the underarm seam. And then to finish out the curve up here, we're going to grab our French curve and just line that back up and draw the curve. Now make sure that you're kind of echoing the curve that's here on all of these drafts. Okay, the next one we're going to do is our very stretchy. And we've already done the 1/8, so now we're going to go to the 1/4 inch mark. So 1/4 and 1/4. And now all we're going to draw is the top and the wrist again. Now we're going to slide over to the 1/2 inch mark. And we're just going to draw this corner. Okay. And go ahead and draw your curve. And your underarm seam. Okay, our next one will be the super stretchy. And we've already done the 1/8, 1/4, so now we're on to our 3/8 inch mark. And our 3/8 inch mark down here. After you use those, that's why I put these on the bottom and these on the top. These first ones are on the bottom side. Those are the top and the bottom one that I marked. The right hand side are the ones for this right here. So after you use that grade, you could mark those off if it helps you keep track of where you are. Okay, so I've moved my pattern over again. I'm going to start with the top, draw to my line, come down here to the bottom. And with these markers, my curves down are getting pretty messy. So I'd probably clean those up. Or do them with a pencil and you should be in better shape than what I am right here. Okay, I'm coming over to my 3/4 of an inch mark and I'm just marking that corner. Okay, now we have our size 8 sleeve drafted into the different stretch ratios. So this right here is going to be for your 2-way stretch fabrics, so that only stretches across. We need to also take out some for the 4-way stretch, and remember how on our top slopers we folded this part out right here for the 4-way stretch, which in turn made your armhole smaller. So if we don't take that out on our sleeve for the 4-way stretch, then our armhole or sleeve cap would be too big. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that here. So use your line that we marked here, that was your E. Draw 1/4 of an inch below it and 1/4 of an inch above it. And that'll be the part that you take out for the 4-way stretch. So remember, this does not get taken out for the 2-way stretch, but for the 4-way stretch. So I'm going to write 4-way only on there so that we will remember that. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, and then we'll trace this to the different sizes. Or trace this onto different paper so that we have all the patterns. Okay, here I have the patterns all cut out and stacked on top of each other. So the one on the bottom would be my minimal stretch, then my moderate, then my very, and then my super. These are the two-way stretch patterns, and these are the four-way stretch patterns. I have taken all these and cut them out and put grain lines on them. So once you open it up, put your grain line right on that fold. And then I wanted to also show you that you can see here that the four-way stretch is going to match at the underarm seam, but it's going to be shorter in here. So they should look different, and they should be a little bit shorter in the cap, but the bottom part should be the same. So do you see how we match all right here, but we are just off right here. And then, so now we have all the two-way patterns and then the two four-way patterns. So minimal stretch, moderate stretch, very stretchy and super stretchy. And then in the four-way stretch, you only have the very and the super, because these are usually the only ones that have the four-way stretch to them, usually have the lycra in them. So these are the patterns that you should be creating. You should also show me the graded nest when you first have that. The first one we started to create these, create that graded nest and then do these. So the next thing we need to do with these is put the notches on them. I would go ahead and get out your top foundations, and if you haven't already, put notches in this lower section, one notch for the front and two notches for the back. And we are going to go ahead and unfold these patterns. Okay, I'm going to deal with these two-way stretch ones first, and I'm going to stack them towards the right-hand side, which will end up being my front. Having a little trouble getting these guys to line up. They don't want to play right today. Okay. So now I have them stacked to the right hand side, and I'm trying to kind of line up these caps. Okay, then I'm going to walk my pattern over to where my notch would be for my front. And to walk the pattern, since we don't have any seam allowance, I'm just going to start at the edge and then just turn the pattern as I go. So my notch is right here. I'm going to go ahead and mark that on my pattern, and then I'm going to use my notcher and go ahead and cut that. Notcher's being a little finicky lately. I think it's time to get a new one. Okay. And after I have that, I'm going to line all my patterns up to the back side. And this time I'm just lining up the armholes. Seemed like that worked a little better. And then I'm going to grab my back pattern and walk it. Okay, so I have my front and back notches on all my sleeve patterns for the two-way, and we'll just transfer those to the four-way stretch. You could probably line these up at the same time. I just felt like it was a little too much to keep all together. So I'm going to go ahead and line up my front. And I'll just use one of the patterns I had before. going to line them up on the back side and do the same thing. Okay, so that is your graded set of size 8 sleeves. See you in the next video.